Greetings to everyone out there in YouTube land. I'm Ahmed Hassanin, and I just want to give a shout out to Coach Dan. Thank you for all the support you show the team and the players. Everyone hit the like, subscription button, and yell woo in the comments. Thank you, and go Lions.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan, by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
All right, well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. It's Lions Talk Live. It's Friday, just before noon Eastern Standard Time. And hey, it was pointed out to me today, I never thought about it before, Detroit Lions are the only team in the NFC North in Eastern Standard Time. At any rate, though, the MCDC press conference for Friday just got done, and I think he gave us a couple real tidbits, a little bit of things to consider going into Friday's game. We've all been speculating for some time what the Detroit Lions, what Kelvin Shepard are going to do on defense. MCDC, threw a bunch of different questions through reporters, brought up two people that he really if you watch his body language, I think he's got some high expectations for going into Sunday's game. I will throw the first one out there, Zach Cunningham. We've talked about it all offseason since the Lions have signed him and watching his performance in the preseason. I think he is a starting caliber NFL linebacker. MCDC himself brought up all the experience he brings. We've been speculating for some time whether the Detroit Lions would sign somebody else to replace Zadarius Smith, whether or not they would just simply re-sign Zadarius Smith. Neither of those, at least so far, have come to fruition. But what we can say is there's been more and more growing, I guess you could say, speculation. The Lions are going to play a lot of 3-4. If you were a part of the press conference, I had a conversation with a couple of you guys in the comment section. We've also been talking about it recently on Lions Talk Live. It's my anticipation Kelvin Shepard is going to use in the rotation with Hutchinson, Davenport. I think you're going to see Derek Barnes and Jack Campbell and Zach Cunningham be used going after the quarterback. Barnes, for those who maybe don't remember before the injury last year, he was being used to some degree as a blitz end or a rush end on obvious passing downs. He did that a little bit the year before and had some success. Jack Campbell's rookie year, also you saw that happen, and he did, I think, get 2 sacks his rookie year in that type of situation. It's my anticipation, based on what he said about Cunningham and then also Mekhi Wingo, both guys are probably slated for a little bit bigger roles than maybe perhaps the average Lions fan anticipated. Wingo, we know the incredible medical return, the speed of the return from the ACL, the fact that he was originally thought to come back probably like a Lee McNeil and everybody else, mid-late October, but now he's already back with the team and has been back for nearly 2 weeks. Sounds like Detroit Lions have plans to roll him out there, a part of that pass rush, part of that defensive front. So if you're a Lions fan right now, knowing that perhaps Zach Cunningham, Derek Barnes, Mekhi Wingo, and everybody else on that defensive front seven are probably going to be used outside of the defensive tackle position to rotate around to get more speed, more athleticism on the field, get after the quarterback. What are your thoughts? We all know Don Capers, man, I got tongue-tied there for a second. Don Capers is a big influence on Kelvin Shepard. We know he was the master in the NFL for about 15, 20 years of the 3-4 zone blitz. Do you think it's possible that the Detroit Lions are not going to sit back? We were also talking on today's morning show. I think this is the greatest Lions secondary any of us realistically have ever seen. You look at all the familiar faces at the cornerback spot, the safety spot, the interchangeableness of them, the fact that you've got 2 safeties to some degree that can come up and play linebacker on certain downs. What are your thoughts going into Sunday? It seems like more and more the national media, the ones that are actually talking about the Detroit Lions and not overlooking them, are starting to kind of get on board with this as well. I'm fully anticipating. Let me know your thoughts, but I think Kelvin Shepard's going to unleash the fury on Jordan Love. He's probably going to lock up, in my humble thought, a lot of people in man-to-man coverage and saying, hey, we're going to rotate 7 people up front. you won't always know offensive line or quarterback who's coming and who's dropping. Because of that, again, going to the references of Don Capers, I think the Lions are actually going to make most of us forget about who we didn't sign in free agency or in the draft and simply say this. Detroit Lions linebackers and defensive line are incredibly big and incredibly athletic. By today's standards, most people would agree Jack Campbell is an asterisk. He's, 6 foot gajillion, 400 billion pounds, and the fact he can float sideline to sideline effortlessly, I think he's going to make a lot of plays this year. Alex Anzalone, I think everybody gets, he can cover anybody, whether it's a running back, tight end, maybe even some lower level wide receivers at the NFL level for shorter distances. Rodrigo, when he returns, kind of like Alex Anzalone, can be all over the place. It's my guess that what we saw to some degree later in this season with all the extra players added because of the injuries to the Lions defense, you saw some of Aaron Glenn going to systems like this. I think Kelvin Shepard's going to probably have, when we get to the end of the year, find out that this is what he's going to do the majority of the year. Also, Kelvin Shepard, for those who don't know, spent some time this offseason with the Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator going through all that. You also know the Minnesota Vikings, if you haven't paid attention, led the league in the last few seasons in the amount of blitzing and pressure they bring. They make it incredibly difficult for the average quarterback, the average offensive line to understand who's coming and who's not and how to rotate to pick people up. Early in the season, if this holds water come Sunday with Kelvin Shepard, I think you're going to see the Lions get home a lot. If you caught the morning show, Dan O'Damas, yes, the guy that predicts everything for the show from time to time, even came out and said he thought Derek Barnes would lead the team with 3 sacks Sunday. And I do think that's probably going to be fairly accurate. I think you're going to see a lot of hits on Jordan Love. That left hand's probably going to get tested out. The Packers, to their credit, they do have a pretty good team. And they do have a pretty good receiving core. But it is a younger, less physical receiving core. I get Golden's going to have all sorts of people talking about him because of his immense speed and draft status. Well, you know what? I think he's going to have a welcome to the NFL moment. All right, not going to make this a long video. Let's get over to you guys, see what you have to say about any of this and a little bit more. But I'm glad to hear that Mekhi Wingo is back and healthier than they anticipated. And, I get most of us, if you watch the Duke Crew or the comment section, you probably have some expectations that Cunningham is going to play a far bigger role in this year's defense than most are anticipating. All right, so Sunday can't get here soon enough. I agree with that. John, I want to resign Z, but I'm not feeling we will. There does seem to be in the last 2 to 3 days a lot more growing thoughts that maybe there's a bit of a divide between the Detroit Lions. I still think, man, if we're going to sign him, it's going to be within about 24, 48 hours of the ending of Sunday's game. Art, now I will see the intro. Hope you liked it, my friend. Art, step 1 of 17, according to MCDC. Yes, I like that game-by-game analogy and plan that MCDC has. Doug, what's up, Coach and Duke Crew? Question mark. Hoping we win and stay healthy. Wouldn't that be something? I go for both of those. Calvin Strong thinking we pound that ball down on the Packers all day, make them eat it. I do too. I think, part of John Morton, if you pay attention to him when he's been the OC before, just some of the systems he's run before. We also know with MCDC, he did make comments when selecting a new offensive coordinator. At least you take it as you want. The way I interpret it, he wanted less trickeration and more just straightforwardness on the offense. I think you're going to get a whole lot of that with John Morton. We'll see, though. All right, Jedi Sith need to get the season off to a strong start. I agree. Dean, about that time, exclamation point, game day is nearly here. Yes, we're closing in 48 hours away. Well, a little bit more than 48, but you get it. Tori, think our defense will be better than many are thinking. Last year, we shouldn't have lost. Injuries killed us. Yes, they did. Mr. Nico, 27 to 17 Lions. I like the way you're thinking. Walt, what's up, Coach? Woo! Exclamation point. What's up, Malt? How you doing? Bo, bonus. Woo! Hey, nothing wrong with that. Clark, let's go. Exclamation points. I'm down with that. Chrome, Coach Chrome. Let's see, Pierce, the skipper. Woo! Hey, he's still part of the team. I didn't have to edit it out. Pierce, Z ain't coming. I'm starting to think more and more that could be accurate. Walt, hit the thumbs up button for Dan and the Duke Crew. Woo! Thank you for that, Walt. Hit the like and subscribe. Mr. Nico, we got Z back before the Ravens game. Maybe we will get him back before the game. JDC, morning all again, and good morning to you once again. Pierce, I'd be shocked at this point if Z comes back. Could be accurate. Could be. JK, Z will be spawned if injuries kick in only. I'll deal with that. Spawned. Okay. Pierce, JK, facts. Pierce, Blitzburg, here we come. Yeah, I've been saying it all off season. That is my, the way I coach, I always want to put pressure on the other team. I don't care if you know what's coming or not. You still got to beat it. I just think the more we're looking at it, Pierce, the setup of that front seven, the coverage units behind it, as long as you believe that, pass rush, the blitz can get there within 1.5 to 2 seconds. 2 seconds would be stretching him, but 1.5, I think you're probably going to see a lot of it. Joseph, CeeDee Lamb just dropped the ball. He did a few times, didn't he? Don Burr, I'm so tired of hearing about Zadarius Smith like he's J.J. Watt 2.0. Yeah, Donnie Burr, I could be wrong, man. I don't think it's coming here, or at least he's coming here, at least not right now. JDC, tick, tick, tick. We are ticking down the time, my friend. Bo, zone blitz, yeah, I think we're going to see a whole lot of that. And again, I'm just basing on what we've seen, what we know, what we've heard about, who we studied under. I think Kelvin Shepard's going to bring the zone blitz back to Detroit for probably the first time since, I'm trying to remember, man, maybe like the early 80s, late 70s. Let's see, Tom, what do you got? I think the D will be much more flexible than we were the last year. It's all about game adjustments. I agree with that. And I do think Kelvin Shepard, from what we know of him, I think he favors linebackers. And I get it. He was a former linebacker and a great one. Pierce, Don, he's better than the edges we have outside of Hutch. Yeah, could be. Both the Immortals rise. Yes, I think the Immortals will chop them all down. Rob, I have always wanted us to stay in a 3-4. Yeah, back in the 90s, late 80s, we ran a 3-4. We did some blitzing out of it, but to be fair, we mostly had Mike Kofer coming off the edge, Pat Swilling and all them. It sounds like we're maybe considering going back that way, which also means, for those paying attention at home, the moments we go to the 3-4, there will be times Hutchinson and probably Davenport will be your outside backers. All right, Michael, while the outside world just wants the new Americans team to fall because of losing a few players and Doc leaving for coaching jobs. Might be, could be. Don, Pierce, I trust the guys who are in charge. They have a different view. We see things in fan perspective. Agree with that. Yeah, they have a different perspective. Pierce, Don, true that for sure. Tom, they have as many as 4 potential Hall of Famers on the defense alone. They do have some talent out there. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. Pierce, Don, I'm just wondering what they see in Davenport. Everybody says the talent's there. It's just he's got to stay healthy. And that's the number one thing. Pierce, I trust your judgment. We trust all of our judgments in the Duke crew. Don, Pierce, I think Davenport is going to really fool some people. Might be. Hopefully that starts on Sunday. Joseph, Davenport is very good when playing. Correct with that, Lionel. Woo! 52 hours to go! Exclamation point. Lightning and Thundercats. Oh, I'm back at you. Let's see, Pierce, Don, that's the main thing I haven't agreed with this regime on, but again, I hope I can be proven wrong. But with him, trends are the trends. There you go, Joseph. I'm rooting for Davenport. Me too, man, because if he's doing well, the Lions are probably doing well. Don Bird, Pierce, I get that, but totally he has to prove his self health-wise, correct? Don, stop the run first is our number one priority. Yeah, and that's pretty much, Donnie, I think most of us would agree. That's what MCDC's always focused on. Make teams one-dimensional on offense. JC, happy trails, go Lions victory. We'll see you next time. Pierce, Don, it's just been that way his whole career. I personally would have stuck Ahmed on the pub list and kept him in the building so he can rehab here. Could be, yeah. I guess they made the best choice that they felt. Broski, number 1, Gibbs should have a big game too. Packers cornerbacks are garbage. Number 3, stop Josh Jacobs and you should win. Lions 28, Packers 24. Thank you for that, Broski. Brad, first time catching you live, exclamation point. Woo! Hey, thanks for that, Brad. Hopefully you're doing a good one and having a great day. Pierce, Broski, I just think their number 1 corner is also hurt. Hey, let's hope he stays hurt for Sunday. All right, guys, if there is breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as quick as possible. Before you check out, if you would be so kind, hit that thumbs up button, hit that like button, hit all the buttons. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Do something kind for somebody you don't know. We'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, all.
Thank you.